for 2025 from field number 5 at Veterans Park. It's a matchup between the 4 seed and 5 seed Coastal Alabama South and Northwest Shoals Community College, as Northwest Shoals is the visiting team in today's matchup. Braden Mitchell leads off as a 1-1 count and make it now 1 ball and 2 strikes. As she'll go up against right-handed pitcher Lauren Mounts for Coastal Alabama South. The winner takes on the top seed Wallace Hansville later today. Count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mitchell, Maddie Griffith will be the first 2 batters in the order, and then Mackenzie Heitch will bat third to get things started for Northwest Shoals, as we're often started live at Alabama Community College Conference State Softball Tournament. A beautiful day here at Veterans Park in Alabaster. The longtime host for postseason softball is a called strike 3. Gets the first out on the board for Coastal South. So Braden Mitchell goes down on strikes. As that'll bring up Maddie Griffith. Northwest Shoals comes in at 25-28 and 1 on the season, as Griffith gets ahead in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Now make it 1 ball and 1 strike. Kennedy Clark, Candace Chambers, and Aspen Teague in the middle of the order, as the first baseman for Northwest Shoals gets ahead in the count, now 2 balls and 1 strike as she takes outside. 7 through 9 in the Northwest Shoals order: Wallace, Carly Wallace, Reese Pridmore, and Julia Branscombe. As the foul ball back to the screen evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Defense for Coastal South as Hale, Davis, and Miller left, center, and right field respectively. And then along the infield, Parker third, Lodinger the shortstop, as that's slapped foul. Hunt at second base and Toledano at first, with Carpenter behind home plate. As we mentioned, the winner of this ball game takes on Wallace Hansville in the winner's bracket game following this one, about 35 minutes after the conclusion. There's another slapper foul. And then the loser goes into an elimination game tomorrow at noon over on field number 2 against the loser of Southern Union, and then at least Southern Union and the winner of against the winner of Calhoun or Snead State. Count goes full now, 3 balls and 2 strikes. We'll take a look at the team totals for Northwest Shoals offensively here as soon as we can. As a foul, another foul ball keeps it at a 3 ball and 2 strike count. Northwest Shoals 3 games below 500 overall at 25-28-1, and then 16-15-1 in the conference play in D1 of the ACCC. Payoff floats inside for ball 4, so Northwest Shoals gets their first base runner aboard. Team average 276 coming in, as that brings up Mackenzie Heitch, the designated player. Heitch, number 21, her first season at Northwest Shoals. Right down the middle, a strike call. We'll take a look at Heitch's numbers on the season as she falls behind now, no balls and 2 strikes. 44 hits out of 142 at-bats. That's a .310 average, as that slider outside. Mounts so far a walk and a strikeout here in the first. Coastal South in the white tops and bottoms as that's hit foul and out of play. And Northwest Shoals, the chili pepper red tops and the navy blue bottoms. Northwest Shoals, the visiting team, as the lower seed in this opening game of the ACCC Division I state tournament. That's hit well into left field as that will hit off. No, they looked as if hit off the base of the wall and just gets into the infield. So a one-out double puts runners at second and third for the cleanup batter, Kennedy Clark. That pitch was right down the middle of the plate as Heitch able to slug that almost out of the yard as Northwest Shoals in business for Kennedy Clark. Clark third, or check that batting average at 267 on the season, 39 out of 146 with 5 homers and 29 RBIs as she gets ahead in the count. Good pitch that time by Mounts as that's hit foul and out of play. Important for one of these teams to get off to a good early start. Every team, a 6-team field, will have at least 2 days here at Veterans Park. Right down the middle, a strike call. And then the championship takes place on Saturday, and an if necessary winner take all on Mother's Day Sunday. 1-2, little bit outside. James Hardy with you. Action today and tomorrow on Field 2 and Field 5 at Veterans Park. Pitch gets to the backstop, but right back to Carpenter, so nobody can advance. We appreciate you joining us here on JockJive.com, your home for ACCC athletics. Pitch. That's hit out of play. So another full count here in the first at bat for Northwest Shoals. The Patriots trying to get on top with a couple of runners in scoring position. Mounts trying to keep the game scoreless. Popped up, and that should and indeed does get out of play. Clark out of Killen, Alabama, so just a short commute from the campus of Northwest Shoals. We'll have time called, and we'll have a coaching visit for Coastal South. So a chance for Northwest Shoals to take the early lead. Mitchell struck out looking on a 2-2 pitch to begin this ball game. And then Maddie Griffith, good at bat for her as she was able to walk. And then also on a 2-strike count, Mackenzie Heitch was able to rip a double at the base of the wall in left field. Lengthy coaching visit for Coastal South as Mallory Radwich, the head coach for Coastal South. I want to make absolutely sure as far as the defense being on the same page, and then also that Mounts just has a clear mind and is able to try and keep Northwest Shoals off the board. 3-2 to Clark. Upstairs, that'll load the bases. Other game, first game on Field 2 today, as Snead State, the 3 seed, takes on the bottom seed in this tournament, the 6 seed Calhoun Community College. Bases loaded as a strike at the knees to Candace Chambers. See if we can take a look at Chambers' numbers here in 2025 as she falls behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Chambers, 34 out of 133. That's a 255. Check that 256 average, 1 homer and 20 RBIs. As she stays alive, a count now at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Big opportunity for Northwest Shoals to get a crooked number on the board as there's a pop fly into right. As the catch made by Miller. Tagging from third is Griffith. As she'll come home to score without a throw as it was cut off. So the second out of the inning. And then Northwest Shoals with the first run of the on the board as the sac fly RBI to right for Chambers. So really kind of an even trade-off, a slight edge as far as that trade-off to Northwest Shoals because they get the first run of the game. So now 2 runners aboard. Aspen Teague takes ball 1. 6 batters have come to the plate in the first at bat as that's lined and foul to make it 1 ball and 1 strike. Aspen Teague, number 33. 318, a solid 2025 in the regular season. 48 out of 151, no homers and 20 RBIs. By the way, for Chambers, her 21st RBI of the season on that sac fly. 1-1, that's about a couple inches outside. Yeah, nice job by Mounts if she can get this final out without any more damage done. That's hit foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. It'll be somewhat of a letdown for Northwest Shoals, despite taking the first lead of the ball game, that they're only able to score 1 run after loading the bases with less than 2. This is a big pitch here early on. Mounts looks like the wristband for the pitch selection, and now time will be called. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 down. Pitch. That was pretty good by Mounts. Did not miss by very much. I'm not sure how Teague took that. That was a very close call that went in the batter's favor. Runners go on the pitch. And that's a little further outside, ball 4. So now add a runner at third base for Northwest Shoals as Teague with a 2-out walk. Heitch to third and Clark to second. And bases loaded now for Carly Wallace. Wallace, a .290 batter on the season. No homers, 18 RBIs. Says, that was a good pitch to hit, but fouled off. Still top of the first inning here at Veterans Park in Alabaster. About halfway between Alabaster and Montevallo here in Shelby County in central Alabama. 0-1 outside. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Northwest Shoals has done a solid job so far of making Mounts have to work in every at-bat. That's downstairs 2-1. Already 3 batters this half inning have gone to the distance as far as a full count against Mounts. Now Northwest Shoals trying to make the Coastal Owl starter pay. Just on the outside corner. Big pitch again for Mounts. She can still get out of the inning with very minimal damage done, but she's got to find a way to get an out. Swing and a miss, changeup on the strikeout, and so that'll do it for Northwest Shoals here in the first inning as they're able to take the first lead on a run with 1 hit, no errors, and 3 left on base. We go to the bottom of the first inning as it's Northwest Shoals 1 and Coastal Alabama coming to bat. A nice job by Lauren Mounts. She got in some trouble in the first inning, left the bases loaded while only allowing one run to come home to score. James Hardy with you here at field number 5 at Veterans Park on JockJive.com. The first of a potential 4 days here in the ACCC Division I tournament. Championship round is on Saturday, and then there is an if necessary championship game, a winner take all, potentially on Mother's Day Sunday. Let's take a look at the Coastal Alabama South lineup for the Coyotes as Taylor Hunt, Gabby Miller, and Kaylin Parker will be the first 3 due up for Coastal Alabama South, the number 4 seed this week here in Alabaster. We'll wait hopefully for the Coastal Al stats to load up here in the press box, and they do, as the rice ball misses upstairs to Taylor Hunt. Outstanding season for her. 361 in the regular season, 65 out of 180, 5 homers and 46 RBIs. Starting pitcher in Braden Mitchell for Northwest Shoals, as she has misfired on her first 2 pitches. And so the count now at 2 balls and no strikes. Pitch on the way. There's a fastball right down the middle. We're going to look at Mitchell's numbers here prior to the close of this opening inning. That's tapped foul to even the count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sydney Carpenter, Brianna Ryan, and Charlotte Lottinger in the middle third, 4 through 6, and then Gracie Toledano, Abby Davis, and Malia Hale, 7 through 9 in the Coastal Alabama order. 2-2, way outside. So 3 balls and a couple of strikes. Good look at Mitchell's numbers after this payoff. On the outside corner, a called strike 3. Nice job by Mitchell. She was able to just get that outside corner for the first out of the inning. Mitchell, 95 innings of work in the regular season, an 8-9 record. This is her 21st appearance and 18th start of the season. 64 hits allowed, 54 runs surrendered with 34 given up. 34 of those given up having been earned. 46 walks and 105 strikeouts, making now 106 after the strikeout of Hunt. 1 ball and no strikes to Gabby Miller. 384 her average, 32 RBIs with no homers. Takes down and away, 2 balls and no strikes. Gorgeous Thursday afternoon here in Alabaster. As that pitch high, 3 balls and no strikes. Take a look at our weather conditions, as it's a mostly sunny high noon. First pitch early, 11:45 officially. A very comfortable 76 degrees. We do have somewhat of a high humidity factor, about 70% humidity right now. And no wind to speak of. 3 balls and 1 strike now on Miller. That's hit foul to load the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Taylor Hunt struck out looking to begin this half inning. Northwest Shoals with a sacrifice fly to get on the board in their first at bat. Mitchell comes home. Swing and a miss as she just blows the fastball right by Miller. So now 2 down Here in the bottom of the first inning is Kaylin Parker at the plate. Parker's totals 306, 45 of 147, 6 homers and 27 RBIs. Good location, but a little too low. Also 14 doubles for Parker this season. Comes up with nobody aboard and 2 down. That's right down the middle. Strike call. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Tomorrow, games begin a little earlier at 10 a.m. Also 2 games on both fields 2 and 5. Curveball outside. First games, we'll take a look as far as the schedule for tomorrow. First 2 games tomorrow will be losers bracket games, and check that also noontime starts, I beg your pardon. As the count now at 3 balls and 1 strike. So 12 p.m. for the losers bracket games on fields 2 and 5. And then the teams that come out undefeated today will not have to play until about 2:30. There's a foul ball to load the count full, as Mitchell has gotten to a full count on each of the first 3 batters that she's seen. I'd love to have the same result she's had on both Hunt and Miller and strike out the side. Mitchell comes home, and that's downstairs, so a base runner aboard as Kaylin Parker walks with 2 down. Cleanup batter Sydney Carpenter to the plate. A great season for her, 342, 17 homers and 53 RBIs. That's hit foul, and that'll go out of play. So a chance Carpenter, more than capable, with 1 swing of the bat, of putting Coastal Alabama South on top. Outfield shades to pull. Not a bad pitch there, as it just misses a little bit low. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Just getting off the ground here this week with the ACCC Division I State Softball Tournament. Should end the inning on a pop-up right side. Street goes out, gives way to Clark, the right fielder, as she makes the grab to retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, and a runner left on base for Coastal Alabama South. We're through 1 as Northwest Shoals 1 and Coastal Alabama South 0. We're through 1 inning of play. The first game this week on field number 5 as Coastal Alabama South and Northwest Shoals going at it in the 4-5 matchup to see who will take on Wallace State Hanceville coming up after this one. Northwest Shoals sent 7 to the plate, but only scored 1 in their first at-bat as Pridmore, Branscombe, and then back to the top of the order and Braden Mitchell due up. They'll go up against Lauren Mounts. We'll take a look at her numbers here this season as we're underway here in the second inning, and Pridmore gets ahead in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Mounts almost 122 innings coming in as she evens the count with a strike call. 17-5 on the season with a save. 32 walks compared to 106 strikeouts, as that's a foul ball to make it 1-2. 107 hits allowed, 55 runs given up. All but 2 of those have been earned. She has allowed 20 homers so far in those 121 2/3. Right down the middle, but fouled off. Winner advances into the NJCAA regional round. 1-2. Upstairs on the rise ball. Mounts making her 31st appearance and 23rd start on the season. Pitch hit into right field. Should be an easy play and is for Miller, 1 down. So she's retired. At least both of the leadoff batters has Mounts so far. Mitchell struck out looking to begin the ball game as Julia Branscombe to the plate. And we'll go back to the top of the order as Branscombe takes inside. Our first look at Branscombe this afternoon. For the freshman, just 44 at-bats this season, 7 out of 44 for a 159 average. Fouled off to make it 1 ball and 1 strike. So an opportunity for her to break through and put her name on the ACCC map. Mounts trying to put a 0 on the board and really bounce back from a somewhat shaky first. That could have been a lot worse than it turned out, as 2 balls and 1 strike now on the number 9 hitter in the order. That's hit pretty well into left field, as going over and making the catch is Hale, 2 down. So Mounts a lot better second inning so far, as the first 2 Patriots batters retired, and back to the top of the order in Braden Mitchell, who struck out looking her first time up. Only the 10th time she struck out this entire season. That's ripped into left center field, and that's going to be caught. A nice play by Hale to potentially rob Mitchell of a double. So side retired, nothing doing, no runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base for Northwest Shoals. So we go to the bottom of the second inning as it remains Northwest Shoals 1 and Coastal Alabama South nothing. Got it. A nice way to end the top of the second inning by Coastal Alabama South left fielder Malia Hale to rob Mitchell of a double to end the top of the second inning. As we go to the bottom of the second inning, as Northwest Shoals maintains a 1-0 advantage. So that only took about 10 or 11 pitches for Mounts to get through that top of the second inning, as Braden Mitchell will return to the circle to face the 5, 6, and 7 batters for the Coyotes of Coastal Alabama South. Brianna Ryan, the designated player. She'll have her first at bat. Take a look at Ryan's numbers after a strike call to make it no balls and one strike. Ryan with 81 at-bats this year. Quite productive, 36 out of 81. 2 homers, 35 RBIs, and a .444 average. That's low and in, 1 ball and 1 strike. We'll take a look at the Northwest Shoals defense following this 1-1. That's tapped foul to make it 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wallace in left, Bransom in center, and Clark in right. And then along the infield, Teague at third. Chambers, the shortstop. Street, who is not batting offensively at second base, and Griffith at first, with Pridmore behind home plate. Pitch way outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mitchell had a couple of strikeouts and a walk in a scoreless first inning. Pitch, swing and a miss for the strikeout. Already 3 strikeouts for Northwest Shoals' Braden Mitchell. 1 down. To the plate comes the shortstop, Charlotte Lottinger. Where's number 6, the freshman out of Houma, Louisiana. Definitely what you would call Cajun country down there in the swamps and bayous southwest of New Orleans. 1 ball and no strikes. Take a look at Lottinger's journey through 2025. 278, 35 out of 126 with a homer and 26 RBIs. See if that stays into play as a long run for someone. As a nice grab it by Clark in foul territory, as there's now 2 down. So far, 7 pitches unofficially for Mitchell here in the second. Gracie Toledano to the plate. First baseman. 269 on the season, 28 out of 104, no homers and 19 RBIs as she takes 1 ball and no strikes. Northwest Shoals with a sac fly with the bases loaded from Candace Chambers to represent the only scoring for either team. Pitch. Got some late movement that time to even the count. They've been a curveball that was just able to get some spin into the inside corner. Mitchell already looks comfortable out in the circle. Swing and a miss. Once again, some late movement. May have been on a changeup that time, as Mitchell 1 more strike away from getting potentially her second consecutive inning with 2 strikeouts. Already 3 so far in total. 1-2. Misses low and away. Looking ahead to the Northwest Shoals third, 2, 3, and 4 due up. Out in center field, Branscombe shaded a little bit toward left center. Sliced foul. At least right now, as far as this ACCC Division I tournament, the top 2 seeds get a first game bye. So Southern Union, the 2 seed, and then the regular season champion and top seed, Wallace State Hanceville, in the green room, awaiting the winners of the first games here on Field 5 and over on Field 2. That dips low, so the count now goes full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Day 2 action begins tomorrow with the losers bracket games. So you have a couple of teams, of course, that'll go 2 and out this week. Once again, slice foul. So we'll have pitch number 8 in this at-bat for Mitchell. Also take a look as far as how these teams were able to get here. That's how they closed down the final couple weeks of the season. That's hit right side, down the line as another long run and almost a web gem for Street as that harmlessly drops to the playing surface. A field turf surface at all of the playing fields here at Veterans Park. A recent addition over the past year or so. Another payoff pitch coming up for Mitchell. See if she tries to spin one on the edges here as the 3-2. Inside for ball 4. So that'll put a 2-out base runner aboard and keep this bottom of the second inning going. Abby Davis, her first at bat. Davis 24 out of 61. A 393 average, no homers, and 13 RBIs. Mitchell, a solid job so far coming out of the starting block. Fastball right down the middle, a strike call. It's been a pleasant week as far as the temperature here in almost coming up on mid-May. Still early May, Mother's Day weekend around the corner. 0-1, swing and a miss. Rice ball with some movement away that time. As Davis in a hole, no balls and 2 strikes. I'm very impressed with the movement that Braden Mitchell has been able to get here this half inning. 3 strikeouts, but a couple of walks. However, at least no damage in sight so far. As far as that Coastal Alabama can cause. Mitchell ready, fires. Looked pretty good, but just a little bit outside. So Davis able to get another chance. Northwest Shoals on top. Pitch way outside. Our next game takes place about 35 minutes following these two teams getting to the finish line. Mitchell looks at that wristband for the pitch that she wants to come with on this 2-2. Hit foul. So Toledano at first, and then Davis battling in there. And she's trying to keep this inning alive and give a chance for Coastal South to at least tie up the ball game. Two. Grounded just inside the bag at third, a fair ball. Toledano to third as she'll just arrive ahead of the throw on the 2-out double by Abby Davis. Nicely done by Toledano. She was able to get some good contact and send it just inside the bag over at third. So we'll check out as far as Davis's numbers now. 4 doubles on the season. So now a potential opportunity for the Coyotes to take their first lead of the game. Malia Hale with a 2 RBI opportunity as that's in on the hands, and see if that's caught. No, that drops foul. Teague not quite able to catch up to it. So that's the first hit of the ball game by Coastal Alabama South. Also just 1 hit for Northwest Shoals. 1 ball and 1 strike now as that misses outside. We'll take a look at Hale's numbers on the season. Malia Hale, 26 out of 91, 286. 18 RBIs on the year. Oh, good pitch, inside corner. And so once again, Mitchell 1 strike away from getting out of the inning. Trying to keep the 5 seed on top through 2. Big pitch for both teams. 1-2, down and away. So Coastal Alabama South trying to come up with some 2-out magic here in the second. Mitchell got the first 2 outs, and then a walk by Toledano and Davis with a 2-strike double. That's downstairs, and so the count now goes full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. First base open, but Mitchell does not want to see the top of the order come up with potentially the bases loaded here in the second. So Mitchell needs to get this out here. Takes her time, now ready to go. Just outside ball 4. So bases loaded as the second walk of the inning and the third of the ball game for Mitchell. Back to the top of the order as Taylor Hunt struck out, looking her first time up. And we'll have time called, and we'll have a coaching visit for Northwest Shoals. They are coached by Angel Brown. So some signs of inconsistency from Mitchell so far. When she's been on, she's been able to handle the Coastal Alabama order, but she's walked 3 batters now and matched her strikeout total. So let's see what happens here with Taylor Hunt. Hunt the chance to give her team the lead here in their second at bat. So Mitchell's pace has slowed down a bit as she'll come home. That's hit foul and out of play. Would be a confidence booster for Mitchell if she can get out of trouble here. And also likewise, if Hunt can come through with a hit and maybe drive home too. Oh, 1. That looked pretty good, but misses 4 ball 1. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, and 3 left on base so far for Northwest Shoals. So far, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and a runner left on base. Although the base is loaded here with 2 down. There's a strike call. So once again, another crucial situation coming up for Braden Mitchell. Could be one of those momentum changers if it goes successfully for Coastal Alabama South. Misses outside. Mitchell's been trying to get that outside corner. It's been kind of off and on in that portion of the strike zone. Mitchell now gears in, locks in, comes home. Weak grounder, should be an easy play, and is for Griffith. Goes to the bag herself to retire the side. So no runs scored despite Coastal Alabama South loading the bases. We're through 2 innings of play here at Field 5 at Veterans Park as it remains Northwest Shoals 1 and no runs on 1 hit, a couple of walks, no errors, and 3 left on base for Coastal Alabama South. If this game remains tight down the stretch, that may be one of those chances, if Coastal Alabama South doesn't pull it out, that they may regret once these two teams get to the finish line today. So the loser of these first 2 games on Field 2 and 5, the loser will have the rest of the day off, but they'll be playing for their tournament lives first thing tomorrow at noon. While the winner, at least here on Field 5, will take on the top seed Wallace-Hansville later on today. Second games on Field 2 and 5, 35 minutes following the conclusion of these games. 2, 3, and 4 for Northwest Shoals, as Maddie Griffith, Mackenzie Heitch, and Kennedy Clark will get their second at-bats as a strike call makes it no balls and 1 strike. Griffith a walk, and so far the only run scored in the first. Mounts, swing and a miss at the drop ball. That might have been one of the best, maybe the best pitch we've seen from her today. Mounts ready. Lined left field and drops foul. Lauren Mounts out of Kenner, Louisiana, a product of Mount Carmel Academy. That's grounded and just foul. Thankfully for Parker, it was fouled, had trouble on the backhand that time. Mounts her first season with Coastal Alabama South after beginning her community college career at Southwest Mississippi Double-C. There's a nice stab over at third by Parker, as she's able to toss over to first base in time. Nice play to retire Maddie Griffith, as that was slapped toward that 5-6 hole, as Parker able to stick that glove hand out there and make the throw across. Brings up Mackenzie Heitch. A double as she swings and pops it up, and that goes out of play. Bottle this type of weather up and save it for June, July, August, and into September, as we're going to be begging for it once we get into the teeth of the summer. Right down the middle, a strike call. Looks as if a little bit of activity in the Northwest Shoals bullpen. 0-2 outside. Mounts trying to go with the curveball. Heitch ready, and so is Mounts, as that also outside. So both teams have left the bases loaded so far today. Northwest Shoals in their opening at bat, and then Coastal Al in their most recent at bat, as there's another foul ball. So here comes, I believe, the 6th pitch of this battle between Mounts and Heitch. The pitcher's duel so far. One of these two teams trying to get into the winner's bracket. Heitch, good eye as she lays off the curveball. Out of Moulton, Alabama. Her first season in a Patriots uniform. Payoff is outside, so that is a quality at bat for the designated player for Northwest Shoals, as she gets aboard with 1 down. Brings up the cleanup batter in Kennedy Clark. And let's see. We're going to have a pinch runner check-in over at first base for Northwest Shoals. See if we can get that pinch runner here as soon as we can. think that actually may be the flex player over at first base in Jenna Street. So Street over at first base with one down. The second baseman defensively, but being batted for by Mackenzie Heichus relative to the designated player. 1 ball and no strikes. They make it now 2 balls and no strikes as Clark in a good position here with a hitter's count. Clark walked with 1 down, helped load the bases and set up the only run of the game. There's the bunt shown, runner goes, throw down, a good one, and in time. Carpenter and Lodinger on the connection as we can clear the bases, as there's now 2 down, as that was a strike call as well. Picture perfect throw by Carpenter, and Lodinger there to apply the tag. Mounts, fly ball, pretty well in center, but at the track, Davis makes the catch. Side retired as with the caught stealing, Mounts faces the minimum here in the third. Nothing doing for Northwest Shoals as we go to the bottom of the third, as it remains Northwest Shoals 1 and Coastal South nothing. We go to the bottom of the third inning here at Veterans Park in Alabaster. James Hardy with you on JockJive.com. Your home for ACCC Athletics, the Alabama Community College Conference. Rolling out another season of Division I play. The Division I state tournament here at Alabaster as Gabby Miller leads off for Coastal Alabama South. She struck out swinging her last time up. Miller, Parker, and Carpenter. Although it appears we might have, I believe, a pinch hitter as we get underway here in the third, as to the plate is Grace Langston. We'll take a look at Langston's numbers here on the season as she falls quickly behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Langston, 20 runs scored, 22 hits out of 79 at-bats with 6 RBIs. 0-2 is outside. So Miller got the start in right field today. Mitchell, 2 shutout innings, 3 walks and 3 Ks as another foul ball keeps it at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Appears as if the Wallace State Hanceville bus has pulled into Veterans Park, gearing up for their first game of the week. So they'll face the winner of our game here as the pitch is foul. Looked as if a rise ball that came up and in and able to be fouled off by Langston. Langston, number 27, sophomore out of Niceville, Florida. Check that. It looks as if Parker now at the plate, as there's a strike call. Well, the only thing I can guess is there must have been some contact out of the batter's box to force the out. as there's now one down here in the bottom of the third. That's hit well into the left center field as going back, Branscombe watches it go to tie up the ball game. A solo shot for Kaylin Parker. And she's able to tie it up for the Coyotes of Coastal Alabama South. So just the second hit today for Coastal Alabama South, and we'll update the numbers as well for Parker. 7th homer and 28th RBI of the season. Sydney Carpenter to the plate with one down. Flied out to right to end the first inning. Pops this one up, and that goes out of play. So a tight ball game so far, as both teams have missed a couple of, at least opportunities, put a crooked number on the board. Parker with the big swing to tie it up. Swing and a miss at the breaking ball. So in tournament play for Parker, that's the type of play that'll help her team get across the finish line. As we're almost, actually we're just a little bit past a third of the way through. Lazy fly ball into right. Clark comes over and makes the grab, 2 down. So Carpenter has flied out to right a couple of times. Brings up the designated player, Brianna Ryan. Ryan, a strikeout victim, to lead off the second. Mitchell misses with the fastball. Ryan wears 00 this season. Mitchell ready to go. Grounded and through the middle, as that may also get to the warning track and the wall. So Ryan slides in, a 2-out double for her. Take a look at as far as her extra base hit totals now on the season. Brianna Ryan now up to 9 doubles with that 2-out extra base hit. So Charlotte Lodinger, a chance to get Coastal South their first lead of the game. Mitchell in some trouble. Able to get out of it in the second, and so far has given up a run and now another runner into scoring position. Big chance for the Coyotes to set the tempo coming into the middle innings. And Mitchell needs to get this out, at least to prevent any further damage done. That missed a little bit outside. Mitchell taking her time out there in the circle, trying to keep this game knotted up. Ready, pitch, smack down the line, but that's hooked foul. So Kaylin Parker saw a pitch she liked and was able to lift that over the left center field wall on the second pitch she saw from Braden Mitchell. Now Brianna Ryan in scoring position. One, two. That's downstairs. So another 2-strike pitch coming up. So Mitchell has had to earn her outs despite getting 3 strikeouts in her first 2 innings. Would love to get number 4 here. Her pace has slowed down considerably over the last couple of innings. That's tapped foul. Ryan at second base for Coastal Alabama South after her 9th double of the season, a couple of extra base hits here in the inning. 88 doubles now on the season for Coastal South. Hit foul, still 2 balls and a couple of strikes. Take a look at how these two teams did against each other in the regular season. We'll check that out here in just a moment. Wind and pitch. Drifts outside. Now the count loads full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. March 20th and 22nd, they worked around rain that week. It was Coastal Alabama South winning 2 of 3 up at Northwest Shoals that weekend. This is the first meeting since that conference weekend series. On March 20th, it was a 1-0 Coastal Alabama win, and then a split double, and then the same day, Northwest Shoals came back for a 12-9 win in 9 innings before Northwest Shoals won the series with a score of, or check that, a couple doubleheaders played. We'll kind of reset things on that here in just a moment. There's a grounder and nice play on one hop by Chambers as she throws across in time. So we'll review that series after we step aside for this timeout. 1 run on a couple of hits, no errors, and a runner left in scoring position for Coastal Alabama South as we're now through 3 innings of play, and it's all tied up with Northwest Shoals 1 and Coastal Alabama South 1. So we go to the top of the 4th inning through 3 here at field number 5 at Veterans Park. Northwest Shoals lost 3 of 4 in the regular season. They had doubleheaders at each of the venues up in over in Bay Minette, down in Bay Minette, and up in Muscle Shoals this season. A doubleheader down in Bay Minette on March 20th, which was a doubleheader split for both teams. A 1-0 win for Coastal Alabama South, and then a Northwest Shoals extra inning win, 12-9 in 9 innings. And then 2 days later, up in Northwest Alabama, it was Coastal Alabama South sweeping a doubleheader, 7-3 and 5-0 wins. Now that that's taken care of, we can get to the top of the 4th inning. Candace Chambers with a nice defensive play to preserve the tie. Swings and fouls it off. Able to get the game's first run on a bases-loaded sacrifice fly to right. Ever since a 2-out walk from Aspen Teague, Northwest Shoals has not gotten a base runner aboard. Drop ball around the ankles. So 7 in a row now set down by Lauren Mounts. And will also drop low. So hitters count for Chambers. Chambers, the freshman, primarily a shortstop, as she hits that one in the gap in right center. And a nice diving stop by Davis as she robs a base hit from Chambers. That's a Sports Center highlight grab right there as Candace Chambers, some good contact in the right center, but Abby Davis able to range over to her left into right center and go full extended for the grab. Put a few stars on that defensive play for Davis as Aspen Teague gets ahead in the count. Teague a walk in her only plate appearance. It could be a tight finish down the stretch. That's hit into left center, flares down for a base hit. And that gets by both Davis and Hale as that allows Teague to get into second. Call that a double on the play. So 2 times now that Teague has been able to reach. And that's her 8th double on the season. And now it appears we're going to have the lineup card brought out. See if we either have a pinch hitter or a pinch runner. Scheduled for Carly Wallace at the plate, but it appears we do have a indeed. A pinch hitter has been officially checked in. Nice by our umpiring crew. Looks as if, I think that is Bethany Mink, M-I-N-C-K, that's at the plate. So she'll bat for Carly Wallace. There's a bunt, and that goes foul. So no balls and 1 strike. A runner at second base, as that was the second hit of the game provided by Aspen Teague. Mink on the season, 13 out of 62. Average comes out to 210. Does have a couple of homers as she lays down another bunt as that goes foul. So no balls and 2 strikes as this has been a tight ball game throughout. Northwest Shoals had the lead through 2.5 innings of play. And then the solo homer by Kaylin Parker for Coastal South tied it up as Northwest Shoals trying to retake the lead. Fly ball hit into right center as almost able to make another diving grab as Davis as it gets by Miller as well. Around third, Teague, she'll come home to score as sliding into third is Bethany Mink with an RBI triple to put the Patriots back on top. So that's an RBI triple. And most importantly, for Northwest Shoals, that's an RBI to retake the lead as Teague comes home to score. There's a strike call to Reese Pridmore as she flied out to right back in the second. So for Mink, her 4th RBI of the season and 1st triple of the year. 0-1 is just a little bit low. So now Northwest Shoals a chance to take their largest lead and get some much-needed insurance. Off into the bat as that goes out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Pridmore at near the bottom of the order. Just 20 out of 73 coming in. There's a good pitch and a called strike 3. So now 2 down. As that is the 3rd strikeout now for Mounts. And now to the bottom of the order as Julia Branscombe a line out to left her last time up. Strike call makes it no balls and 1 strike. Over at third base is Mink, the pinch hitter. Slides outside. So Branscombe, a chance for the RBI here. As that's hit foul, and so now a 2-strike count. See if so Branscombe trying to add some insurance as Mounts trying to get out of the inning and keep her team only down 1. That's hit out of play. So Northwest Shoals able to respond after Coastal Alabama South was able to tie it up. Here's the pitch. That's hit pretty well into left field. Hale goes out and makes the catch shy of the track. Side retired, but a run scored on 2 hits with no errors and a runner left at third base. We're halfway home. First game of the week here on field number 5 as Northwest Shoals retakes the lead, now up 2-1. So we're halfway home on a Thursday afternoon to open up the ACCC Division I softball tournament. Bottom of the 4th inning as the bottom third of the Coastal Alabama South order. Toledano along with Davis, who actually moved to right field, and Grace Langston, who pinch hit in the 3rd inning, able to make that outstanding catch in center field. And she checked in defensively in the last half inning. Rise ball upstairs from Mitchell. Gracie Toledano will walk with 2 down her last time up. Pitch downstairs, so Toledano off to a good start in her at bat. Coastal Alabama South comes in having won their last 4 games to close the regular season. There's a strike call to make it 2-1. Toledano, Davis, and Hale. I'll try and see if Coastal South can at least get back to a tie ball game, as that now gets to a 3-ball-and-1-strike count. Neither team has had more than a 1-run lead. Northwest Shoals, the only team that has led so far. That's hit in the right field, right at the right fielder, Clark. So 1 down. As Kennedy Clark did not have to move very far that time for the first out of the inning. Brings up Abby Davis. A double back in the 2nd. Swing and a miss through the changeup. Nice job that time by Mitchell, as she was able to throw off the rhythm of Abby Davis. So far, a run on 3 hits, no errors, and 5 left on base for Coastal Alabama South. Couple runs, 3 hits, no errors, 4 left on base for Northwest Shoals. That's popped in, just gets to the screen. So no balls and 2 strikes. Wallace State Hanceville in the green room as they'll await the winner of this ball game, scheduled for around a 2:30 first pitch. I imagine they'll try and get that game in as soon as they can. Slides outside. Abby Davis got the start in center field and then slid over into right field in the last half inning. That's hit into left and in, or rather deep short, as Chambers able to backpedal and make the grab. Soft pop up or line drive, either way, 2 up and 2 down for the Coyotes offensively. Malia Hale a walk, her only time up. And was able to load the bases in the second, but Coastal Alabama South could not cash in. And misses inside for ball 1. Braden Mitchell so far has not had a 1-2-3 inning today. He's had quite a number of walks, 3, but has not given up really more than that 1 run. Pop up in foul territory as Teague able to make the grab and retire the side. So a 1-2-3 inning for Braden Mitchell as Coastal Alabama South does nothing in the 4th inning. We're through 4 innings of play. It remains Northwest Shoals 2 and Coastal Alabama South 1. We'll go to the top of the 5th inning. Anna Griggs checks in for Coastal Alabama South to replace Lauren Mounts. Mounts 4 innings of work. As we'll take a look at the numbers on Griggs this season. This is her 29th appearance, a 7-6 record. A couple of complete games on the year. 81 in the 3rd innings, 87 hits, 52 runs, 35 earned with 37 walks and 46 strikeouts. Top of the order for Coastal Alabama South as a strike call makes it no balls and 1 strike. Braden Mitchell moved into center field in the last half inning. As that'll drop downstairs, 1 ball and 1 strike. Mitchell 0 for 2 offensively. She went 3 innings in the circle. A lot of defensive substitutions that we'll try and track down here whenever we can, as the 1-1 just outside. Three hits for both teams so far today, but Northwest Shoals so far on top. That's hit foul to make it 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mitchell struck out looking to begin the ball game in the first and then hit it hard on a line out to left in the second. 2-2. Lined and nice play over at first by Toledano as she goes up the ladder for the first out. Able to rob at least a single from Mitchell. As Maddie Griffith will come up to the plate. Walk and a run scored and a ground out to third. We'll have a little equipment adjustment now for Griggs. And she'll get ready for her second batter faced. Griggs comes home, and that's just a little bit low. Check out when Anna Griggs last pitched for Coastal Alabama South. For that, we'll tell you that the Headland, Alabama native, her first season with Coastal South. Swing and a miss at the rise ball. Griggs looking good so far in relief. Just a little bit of a piece of it for Griffith as she falls behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. Griggs winds and fires, and that's also fouled off. Last appearance came on the final game of the regular season in that 14-4 win over Gadsden State. 3 innings of work against Gadsden State in the start. Allowed 3 hits and also a couple of unearned runs as that's slapped inside the line at third, a fair ball. And that'll be a single for Maddie Griffith. So base runner aboard on the 4th hit of the day. And now Griffith, second time that she's gotten to first. Or they'll confer, actually, and they'll overturn the call as they'll say that is a foul ball. So it'll stay at, looks like 1 ball and 2 strikes. So a bang-bang call down at third as Griggs now comes home, and that's tapped foul. Tapped foul, but I think, like we saw earlier, it appeared that Griffith made contact out of the batter's box. So we'll call that a 2 unassisted putout for out number 2. So the spot for at least this original starter, Mackenzie Heitch, as she was replaced in the last half inning by Jenna, or in the last at bat in the third by Jenna Street, but Mackenzie Heitch back up to the plate as she falls behind 0-1. Rolled over to first base as Toledano, an easy play as she steps on the bag to retire the side. Nothing doing for Northwest Shoals in the 5th inning as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning as it remains Northwest Shoals 2 and Coastal Alabama South 1. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning here at Veterans Park, field number 5. primary field as far as this week's Division I ACCC State Softball Tournament. Taylor Hunt leads off. Breaking ball in there is J.C. Moore. Her second inning of work came in the fourth inning and pitched a 1-2-3 bottom of the fourth. It was the first 3 of 3 down inning for Northwest Shoals pitching today. We'll get a look at her numbers here as the count now at 1 ball and 1 strike. 10-9 her record with 6 saves on the season. This is high and away, so a hitter's count to Hunt. Hunt a strikeout looking in the first and then grounded out to first in the second. Grounded over left side. Nice play at short by Chambers. Long throw, but that's not nearly in time as it gets toward the first base dugout. So an infield single, we'll call it, as that gets a runner aboard to begin this bottom of the 5th inning. Now getting toward crunch time for both of these teams. The winner takes on the Lions of Wallace-Hansville coming up next. So you got the spot for Langston, I believe, who is at the bat as she bunts a good one as the third baseman Teague tosses over to first base in time, a 5-3 sacrifice. Now a runner in scoring position with 1 down. Hunt advances into scoring position as Langston with the sacrifice. Kaylin Parker, a walk and a solo homer. Parker's solo shot was able to tie it up back in the third. Off-speed pitch changeup in there for a strike. Parker saw the second pitch that she saw from Braden Mitchell and able to cream that over the left center field wall. Pitch home, grounded foul past the third base bag. Sydney Carpenter on deck. Taylor Hunt able to reach on a 2-1 single to deep short. And Langston sacrificed her. Pitch on the way. Pop up. Long run for Wallace as that just does get out of play. So a 2-strike count now. Big at bat again for Parker, as this time she has an opportunity once again to try and tie, or with another long ball to give Coastal Alabama South their first lead of the game. Pitch is hit into left center field, and that'll drop down as Hunt gets the call around third. And into second with her second hit, second extra base hit, and second RBI is Kaylin Parker. As that ties it up, less than 2 down still. As that an opportunity for the Coyotes to try and take their first lead. Carpenter, a couple of flyouts to right so far today. One to end the first and another to put 2 out on the board in the third. That's tapped foul. So no balls and 1 strike. We'll take a look at the updated totals now for Kaylin Parker. That's hit high and deep, but that's hit foul. And home run distance for Carpenter. So a homer and a double today. 7 homers and now 15 doubles and 29 RBIs for Parker. That's hit and to the shortstop, flips over to second. So Chambers and Street tag team on the 6-4 line drive double play. Carpenter for the second out, and then Parker wiped off the base for the third out of the inning. So a run to tie it up on a couple of hits, no errors, and nobody left on base for Coastal Alabama as we now go to the 6th inning, all knotted up at 2 apiece. We go to the top of the 6th inning as Coastal Alabama South and Northwest Shoals knotted up at 2 apiece. Anna Griggs returns to the circle for her 2nd inning of work. Lauren mounts with 4 innings in the start. Middle of the order for Northwest Shoals as a strike call. Kennedy Clark a walk and a fly out to center so far. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors, and 5 left on base for Coastal Alabama South. So far, a couple runs on 3 hits with no errors and 4 left on base, as there's a nasty pitch swung on and missed. A screwball that comes in and forces a swing and miss for Clark. 1-2. Outside. Taking a look at Northwest Shoals down the home stretch. Able to win their final 2 ball games of the season on May 3rd against Northeast Alabama Community College. Fouled off to make it 2-2. Wins of 3-2 and 5-3 over the weekend. End of the regular season occurred on Saturday. 2-2 downstairs, 3 balls and 2 strikes. So Coastal South tying it up for the 2nd time today, thanks to Kaylin Parker's RBI double, as the Coyotes played small ball to perfection. Payoff pitch. Grounded. Nice batted down by Parker. And Clark will give that an infield single to get the inning started. Parker had to reach out to try and get that ground ball. A makeable play, but not the most routine play either, as Clark aboard with an infield single. Brings up Candace Chambers, who has a sacrifice fly in the first and a fly out to center. And she was robbed by Langston in her last at bat. There's a strike call. So 0-1. Northwest Shoals trying to respond again. Rice ball upstairs. 1-1 on Chambers. Been a good ball game. Both teams fighting step for step so far. Northwest Shoals has been the only team to lead today, as they've had a one-run lead a couple of occasions so far. So hitters count for Chambers at 2-1. It appears that Northwest Shoals trying to play the small ball here in the 6th. Griggs gets the strike on the bunt foul, so 2-2. So Chambers now will have to hit away here. Patriots trying to get that runner at first into scoring position with less than 2 down. Wind and pitch. Off the bat handle on one hop. They'll go the short route for one and on to first. Not in time. Loninger and Hunt able to get a 6-4 fielder's choice and just about a half step away from getting a 6-4-3 double play. So Chambers aboard as Clark retired over at second base for the first out. Brings up Aspen Teague. A walk and a double along with a run scored. So Griggs takes her time, and now Roxon fires, and that's downstairs. We'll take a look further as far as some of the highlights between these two teams back in March. 3 out of 4 won by Coastal Alabama South. Off the end of the bat as that goes foul to even the count. For Northwest Shoals, they were able to get a Candace Chambers sac fly with the bases loaded to take the first lead. Also, Bethany Mink came up with a RBI triple to score Aspen Teague. There's now a hitter's count for Teague. 2-1. That's hit into right center field. That'll get down as around second goes Chambers. And she'll slide into third without a throw. Nice job by Teague as she gets good contact and serves it up into center field. Second hit of the inning and 5th of the ball game for the Patriots. So Northwest Shoals potentially a sac fly away from retaking the lead, as we'll have a pinch runner check in over at first base. Here it appears as if Marlo Williams checks in over at first for Teague. So Bethany Mink, I believe, who also checked in left field in the prior half inning at the plate. Pitch on the way, that's outside. So we've seen quite a bit of the bench so far able to check in. Pitch on the way, that is outside. So 2 balls and no strikes. So Williams over at first. Big opportunity for Northwest Shoals again to retake the lead. That floats in there, a strike call. So Mink had an RBI triple, her first triple of the season. And was able to give Northwest Shoals at least their most recent lead, as we'll have time called at home plate. So a hitter's count for Mink, the left fielder. Northwest Shoals has gone into their bench a bit so far today. As Griggs comes home, that's hit into center. Catch made by Langston. Runner tags and able to come home to score. As Chambers comes down the line from third on the second sac fly of the day for Northwest Shoals. So Mink, a couple of RBIs off the bench. And she's able to give Northwest Shoals once again the lead. Brings up Reese Pridmore, who has gone 0 for 2. There's just outside. That looked pretty good to me from way up here in the press box. Pridmore a fly out to right and a strikeout. Griggs comes home. And that'll be knocked down, but also allow Williams to get into scoring position. Wild pitch makes it 2 balls and no strikes. So Pridmore a chance to give her team a 2-run advantage. Mallory Radwich comes out and wants to have a word with her infield. Northwest Shoals has been able to respond to every answer that Coastal Alabama South has given as far as tying it up a couple of times today. The second time over the past almost 3 innings that Northwest Shoals has been able to retake the lead immediately after Coastal Alabama South tied it up. So as of now, J.C. Moore and Anna Griggs, the pitchers of record. That gets downstairs, especially with a couple down. Pay attention as far as the lead that Williams gets over at second base. Could prove very beneficial as far as a potential base hit to the outfield. That's downstairs, so a 4-pitch walk for Pridmore as she's on at first base. So now 2 runners on. As we're to the bottom of the order as Julia Branscombe, the center fielder, to the plate. A line out to left and a fly out to left, so 0 for 2. Griggs comes home. There's a strike call. Kennedy Clark able to single off the glove of Parker at third to get the inning going. Then a fielder's choice by Chambers. And Aspen Teague able to hit a hard single to move Chambers over to third. As a strike call makes it no balls and 2 strikes. Wallace Hansfield getting their warm-ups in before they hit field number 5 after this ball game. That looked pretty good, but I think a good call from our home plate umpire, maybe an inch and a half outside. 1 and 2. Runners will go on the ping of the bat. I'll have time called. Griggs now ready for the 2-strike pitch. That's hit right side, and they'll say just foul. Our home plate umpire got out of the crouch. Got a pretty good look at it as that was just about 12 to 20 inches foul or so. Would have driven home a run for Branscombe. There's now another 1-2 outside. Top of the 6th inning, so if you're Coastal Alabama South, Griggs has to be able to come up with an out here and keep this a 1-run margin. Grounded through the middle for a base hit. Around third comes Williams, a throw home, and not in time. A bang play at the plate as the throw just far enough up the first base line to allow Williams to be able to slide into home. Pridmore advances to second. That now makes it a 4-2 lead for Northwest Shoals. We'll update some numbers now for Branscombe as that brings us back to the top of the order as that pitch gets to the backstop. Pridmore to third, and now Branscombe into scoring position on a wild pitch. So Mitchell back to the plate. So far 0 for 3. She was robbed of a hit her last time up in the 5th. 1 ball and 1 strike. So now Northwest Shoals can really help themselves if they can get a single from Mitchell. Just outside. A huge chance for Northwest Shoals to put themselves in position to almost coast down the stretch. 2-1. Grounded and foul past the third base bag. Five, 6, and 7 due up for Coastal Alabama South in their half of the 6th inning. Mitchell a strikeout, a line out to left, and a line out to first. Wind and the 2-strike pitch. Hit into right. Going back and now settling in is Davis for the catch to retire the side. However, a couple of runs score as Northwest Shoals regains the lead. 2 runs on 3 hits with no errors and 2 more left on base. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. It's now Northwest Shoals 4 and Coastal Alabama South 2. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning as Northwest Shoals scores 2 to take their largest lead of the day. Now up 4-2. Our first game of the week on field number 5, and the winner takes on Wallace Hansville immediately following this game. Time to flip over the scorecard. Brianna Ryan leads off as she takes a strike call. Ryan a strikeout and a double, so 1 for 2. Couple of solid innings so far today in the circle as a comebacker and an easy play for more, 1 down. 1 run on a couple of hits in 2 innings of work so far for J.C. Moore. So Moore in her 3rd full inning of work. The pitcher of record as far as the winning side out of Russellville, Alabama. Charlotte Lottinger, 0 for 2. Moore comes home right down the middle, a strike call. Lottinger fouled out to right in the 2nd and then grounded out to short to end the 3rd. Northwest Shoals in a good spot here. As Coastal Alabama South, they've fought tooth and nail too, but they've never been able to gain the lead as a strike call makes it no balls and 2 strikes. 1 more game today here on field number 5. That's Northwest Shoals trying to get to that 2nd game of the day. That would assure their spot in the winner's bracket at least for today. Pop up. Over to Chambers as she puts it away, 2 down. That brings up Gracie Toledano, the first baseman. A walk and a line out to right for her. The winner will or the loser, I beg your pardon, will play first thing tomorrow. As the wind and pitch, that will hit the strike zone. No balls and 1 strike. So Moore trying to achieve her second 1-2-3 inning of her 3 innings today. Able to get a 6-4 line drive double play on Carpenter to end the Coyotes' scoring threat in the 5th. Off the end of the bat as that goes out of play. So this will be just the 8th pitch of the inning as Moore trying to work a quick 1-2-3 6th. 2, 3, and 4 due up for Northwest Shoals in the 7th. Still a little more work to do for J.C. Moore here as she comes home. And that's high and away. Kaylin Parker has been the primary offense today for Coastal Alabama South. Has reached base 3 times, including a couple of extra base hits, a homer, including a homer and a double. 1-2. Breaking ball just a tad outside. Two games today, 2 games tomorrow, and then at least 2 games Saturday with a potential for a, if necessary, winner-take-all championship Sunday. 2-2. Popped up. Should do it. Teague over third secures the catch to retire the side. 1-2-3 goes Coastal Alabama South in the 6th as we go to the top of the 7th inning as the 4 seed in trouble with 5th seeded Northwest Shoals on top 4-2. We go to the top of the 7th inning, the final full inning of regulation coming up. As Northwest Shoals will at least have a 2-run lead going to the bottom of the 7th inning regardless, or at least that worst case scenario, I should say. So they're in good position coming down toward the finish line. 2, 3, and 4 to start the 7th as Maddie Griffith, the first baseman, will take downstairs. We've had a lot of lineup changes so far for Northwest Shoals, so always have to make absolutely sure that the correct player is at the plate. That's slapped foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Already an upset today here in Alabaster as the 6th seed and the bottom seed in Calhoun upsets the 3 seed Snead State 4-2. So Calhoun will take on Southern Union at a scheduled 2:30 start as a foul ball makes it 1 ball and 2 strikes. The lower seeded team here on Field 5 also trying to come away with the win over Coastal Alabama South. There's an off the end of the bat and foul. 4 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. 6 left on base for Northwest Shoals. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors, and 5 left on base for Coastal Alabama South. That's slapped foul and out of play. Almost 2 hours in so far here at field number 5. A nice win. That's one of the best games of the season today for Calhoun Community College to advance into the winner's bracket. That's off the end of the bat. Nice play by Parker. Throws, and that's not in time. That was a tough play over on the left side by Parker. As she was able to field, but knocked it down and couldn't quite get the throw over to first base. We'll call that an infield single. We've seen Mackenzie Heitch and Jenna Street as far as batting in pinch running appearance in that number 3 spot, as Heitch, who came on to first base earlier today, takes ball 1. Reached base a couple of times, including a double in the first. Taps that one back to Griggs, goes to second for 1, and the throw to first is late, not in time. Call that a 1-6, as Lottinger able to receive that 1-6 fielder's choice. Griffith retired, 1 down. Runner now at first base, and Mackenzie Heitch will have, looks as if a substitution come in for Northwest Shoals. We've seen Angel Brown go to the scorecard quite a bit to keep us on our toes up here in the press box. See our home plate umpire do a little mix and match in the lineup. Now that little bit of business is taken care of. Let's see if we got number 15, I believe, or Kennedy Clark now to the plate. So that was Mackenzie Heitch that grounded into the fielder's choice. I beg your pardon, is Clark to the plate, as that'll miss downstairs. So Heitch aboard at first base as Griggs comes home. Tapped over to the right side. Hunt goes to second for 1, and the throw over to first base. That's not in time. 4-6 on the fielder's choice, as Heitch retired. 2 down here in the top of the 7th inning. Brings up Candace Chambers, who had a 6-4 fielder's choice her last time up. Also came home to score. There's a 2-hop bouncer over to Hunt, as she'll toss over to first base in time to retire the side. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and a runner left at first base for Northwest Shoals. It'll take 2 to tie and 3 for a comeback victory for Coastal Alabama South as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning with Northwest Shoals on top. Bottom of the 7th inning here at Field 5 at Veterans Park. We appreciate you for joining us on JockJive.com today. J.C. Moore trying to take her team across the finish line here against Coastal Alabama South. 8-9-1 due up for the Coyotes. As Moore, 3 solid innings, as there's a pop-up, almost gets our way and out of play. Abby Davis at home plate, as she has doubled and also lined out softly to short. J.C. Moore, 3 innings, 1 run allowed on a couple of hits. Has not walked or struck out a batter. Rise ball upstairs. Malia Hale on deck, and also Taylor Hunt will get in at bat here in the 7th. Winner takes on Wallace Hansville in about 35 to 40 minutes or so from now. There's a pop-up, and that'll go out of play. So 35 minutes between games, as Snead State will play tomorrow. Calhoun with the upset victory today over the 3rd seed Parsons. Moore winds, fires, and called strike 3 for the first out of the inning. Nice pitch on the inside corner by Moore. That's her first strikeout of the ball game. And that'll bring up Malia Hale in the bottom of the order, who has walked and fouled out to first. So already the 6th seed has won today, and the 5 seed Patriots of Northwest Shoals trying to get into the winner's bracket, as there's a swing and a miss for a strike. Kaylin Parker with a homer and a double has both of the runs driven in for the Coyotes of Coastal Alabama South. Moore misfires for ball 1. For Northwest Shoals, they got a Candace Chambers sac fly in the first, a Bethany Mink RBI triple in the 4th, a sac fly from Mink in the 6th, and the Branscombe RBI single also in the 6th. Change up a little bit low. Lauren Mounts got the start for Coastal Alabama South and went 4 innings, allowing just a couple of runs. However, Coastal Alabama South in trouble. That's hit foul to even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 4 innings, 3 hits allowed, 2 runs, both earned for Mounts in her start. She walked 4 batters while striking out a couple. There's a soft liner on 1 hop as the second baseman flips over street to Griffith for out number 2. So Hale 0 for 2 today, and now we go back to the top of the order as Coastal Alabama South down to their final out with Taylor Hunt at the plate. A strikeout in the first, a ground out to first to end the second, and then a leadoff single and a run scored in the 5th. A consistent effort by Northwest Shoals so far today as Hunt gets ahead in the count. Coastal Alabama South has tied it a couple of times, but they've never been able to get the lead that they've wanted. And Northwest Shoals has played a pretty solid game so far today. Rice ball makes it 2 balls and no strikes. And now just a matter of J.C. Moore getting that final out to get to the ticker tape. Change up right down the middle, 2 balls and 1 strike. Moore has not walked a batter, did allow a couple of hits in the 5th, but she's been on top of her game for the most part so far in relief. Braden Mitchell went 3 innings in the start for Northwest Shoals. 2-1 and just outside. Outside corner's been a little tight from our home plate umpire, but consistently so far. Still some room for error for Moore out in the circle. Looks to the dugout, now gets the call from the wristband, as that's downstairs for ball 4. 5-pitch walk puts Hunt aboard at first base, and now brings up at least the number 2 batter in the order and the 4th batter of the inning. Gabby Miller got the start as far as the number 2 spot. And Gracie Langston came on back in the 3rd inning. Let's see if they do make maybe a re-entry here. It looks as if we'll have a pinch hitter, I believe, come in for Coastal Alabama South. Make sure to get the number right. It's either, looks like it's number 16, Payson Hansen. That'll check in as the pinch hitter. So Hansen an opportunity to keep this game alive. Off-speed pitch on the outside corner, a strike. See if we can get her numbers on the season for Hansen. And indeed we can. 39 out of 119. 2 homers, 19 RBIs, a solid .328 average on the season. Swing and a miss, more like a wave and a miss. And now Coastal Alabama South down to their final strike. The win would go to J.C. Moore if she can close it out here. 0-2. Outside. And the pitcher of record would be Anna Griggs for Coastal Alabama South. Number 4 seed on the ropes, says the 1-2. Popped up. See if that stays in play for Teague as that goes out of play. So they're scratching and clawing toward the finish line as Coastal Alabama South trying to keep this game alive as Kaylin Parker, who already has a homer, is on deck. The tying run at the plate as Moore ready for the 2-strike pitch. Swing and a miss for the strikeout. And the throw to first base, that'll wrap things up for Northwest Shoals as Coastal Alabama South, no runs and no hits with no errors and a runner left on base. As your final score from field number 5, as the win goes to Northwest Shoals Community College as they improve to 26-28-1 on the season with a 4-2 victory over Coastal Alabama South, as they now fall to 36-23 overall on the season. We'll step aside in our final of 2 games today as Northwest Shoals Community College will take on the top seed in this Division I ACCC state tournament in Wallace-Hansville on the other side of this timeout in 35 minutes. As we appreciate you joining us for all of our ACCC folks and for all of our folks here at JockJive. James Hardy wishing you a good Thursday afternoon here from Alabaster.